What's up, boys and girls? My name is Jeffery. I just want to throw this on really quick. I got like 6 minutes before I'm supposed to clock in and 21 minutes before I'm supposed to be ready to take my first call here at work. And I just wanted to cut this on really quick to follow up on some things that I have been talking about, or better yet, a realization of some things that I've been talking about. It seems that going all the way back to Jimmy the Greek, I don't know how many of y'all remember Jimmy the Greek, but Jimmy the Greek makes some comments. And he was like one of the first people to make comments and be canceled. This was before canceling was even canceling. I think he said something about African Americans in sports or something. He said something which would be considered benign, if that's the word, in today's standards. But then again, I don't know the way y'all going. I keep saying y'all. I'm teasing y'all. When I say that, I'm just trying to be antagonistic, and I really don't want to be. I really don't want to be antagonistic. I want to be. I want to try to get away from that whole antagonistic thing. Even in regular conversation, you know how I used to do it. How we used to pick and prod each other and tease each other. Just kind of yang at each other in a loving way. Some might say it's dysfunctional, but if you understand it and then the whole group do it, and it's usually done within the family, where you talk tough to each other and everything is, that little, I'm over that. I can't do that. I don't want to go in that direction anymore. But then it's also very hard to talk happy all the time. Not hard, but maybe not as exciting or entertaining or even realistic. Maybe it's not realistic to be that way. Maybe even though I want to cut out all the drama and conflict that is in normal conversation amongst people, that, you just kind of tease each other, talk, or what do you mean by that? That kind of like, it wears on me now. I don't need it anymore. I just want to go away from it. But so I want to try to stay away from that and give commentary like I'm talking now. Keep it entertaining, keep it edgy, keep it real. I mean, keep it, engaging without being overly sensationalized and making stuff up just to make it sound whatever. That doesn't look like it's loud enough. Is that mic loud enough? Seems like it could be louder. I know it could be louder. In fact, oops, I messed that up. Anyway, what I was saying was I cut this on because, and I was talking about how I didn't want to be antagonistic or conflict, or I don't know what the word is, contagious, contentious. I don't know what the words are. I just don't want to be rang anybody. Anyway, I'll splice these two together and I'll have to explain it. But my point was with cutting this on with only 2 minutes to go before I'm supposed to clock in is that it hit me, and it was I was talking about Jimmy the Greek, it hit me that what I seem to be doing, or what I'm kind of like focusing on, is the idea of being able to say whatever you want to say. And ever since Jimmy the Greek, I remember when Jimmy the Greek said what he said, and I looked at the statement and I saw the reaction, and I was like, well, what he said was kind of true. I was like, what he said was kind of true. Even back then, even with Don Sterling, for whatever reason, I found myself defending people who have said something, even though it may have been completely, I could even agree. Even though I don't think that way, I'd say for the sake of argument, even though if I think it was something completely inappropriate, out of place, out of pocket, whatever, off the wall, blah, 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 whatever adjective you want to put on it, I still would defend the right for the person to say that. And I think I've been doing that for a long time. And I think that's what I think that's what I'm doing. I got caught up in this Conway thing. I got shoulder pain. That's why I keep always doing this stretching. I got shoulder pain back there. I Googled it. This has been going on for like a couple months now. It's better sometimes, and I stretch, and I thought it was the way I slept and this and that and all kinds of stuff. But the point is, I wanted to cut this on and just say my thing is defending a person's or people's right to say anything, a person's right to be wrong, a person's right to be derogatory, I understand that there's going to be backlash, human backlash, and there's no way around that. That's just part of the beauty. That's just part of the beauty of the human situation here on the planet Earth, where the social systems that we have put together can actually work together in a decentralized way, even though we don't all, a lot of us don't all, the country doesn't all get together and decide this way or that way. By aggregation, groups seem to form and things are decided or decisions are made or actions are undertaken based on what it feels like the country is thinking or something like that. Is that a way to put it? It's like it's like social justice. It's like social justice. It's like unorchestrated social justice. How about that? Unorchestrated, decentralized social justice, social verdicting, where whoever's making these decisions, is it Twitter? Is it the responses on Twitter? Is it the things that go viral? Is it the news? Is it reactions? Is it voting? What is it that sways the media and us to think, oh, this person's bad? And it's not that it sways us to think that. There'll be like an overlying feeling, or the overlying sentiment can almost be seen or detected. It's like you can almost feel what the country feels about certain things. And it has to be abstract because there's probably no way of really knowing that, but you just get a sense. You get a sense of what it seems to me that we can get a sense of what the whole country thinks or feels in a general, very, very generalized way. We understand the differences between conservative and liberal. We understand the differences between, maybe a racist group and a more benevolent group. We understand the differences. We know we're all in this together, but there seems to me there's underlying rules, or there's underlying do's and don'ts that aren't written in legislation. Some are, but you know what to do and not to do. I mean, you just know, or you just kind of know when you walk into a place or a situation. And I was thinking on the streets or something, like a non-choreographed, non-supervised, free situation, like in the streets, off the grid or whatever. Not it's off the grid, but where not so much policing or protocols. No, there's definitely street protocols, but you know what I mean? When you go off the mainstream, out of the mainstream ways of doing things, and you got to go underground. And there's certain protocols in there, and the rules change a little bit. And there's ways you should act and not act, but you can do anything you want. But there's certain expected behaviors, all that kind of stuff is abstract, but it seems that we all know. It's like, in a way, you get to a point, I guess at my age, where I know how to act and what to do in situations, or at least I feel I do, and that's half the battle. Just even feeling that I know what to do in situation A or situation B is, that's immense. That's immense for a human being to be able to, have that confidence that they can, hey, all right, I can walk over here in this neighborhood and go in this and do that and think about that. I saw that, I guess, because I wanted to make the statement that for me, it seemed like it's always been defending a person's right to say things. Like I said, I remember going back to Jimmy the Greek, Donald Sterling, Paula Dean, the guy from Netflix. I guess he used the word nigger to compare it to the word retard. And he wasn't calling anybody in this. He used it as a very platonic use, and they still had him fired. Stuff like that. I mean, You should be able to say anything you want to on TV. Or no, I take that back. You shouldn't be able, I can't see, that's where it gets fun. You should be able to say anything you want to on TV is a subjective statement made by me, probably to me, very simplified statement made by me to me to understand what I meant by the eventual utopia when mankind and humankind evolved to a point where we don't have to have policing and censorship and heavy-handed protocols in place to make sure the information and media out there heavy-handed regulations in place to monitor the information that's being put out there. Because I don't want to use right or wrong, up or down. The censorship thing. That's where I'm at. So and then I started to go into, what are the repercussions of breaking said unwritten rules and unwritten social protocols, or having, the social justice, activating the social justice, breaking the rules of social justice. But the whole point was, I've always been a defender of saying things. I think and here's another story. A coworker of mine has like a podcast, and we were talking about Bill Maher, and I'm probably gonna paraphrase this wrong. I'm probably gonna put the story together wrong, say it wrong, but it's not the point, because the point is to make my story. He was saying, yeah, Bill Maher is he said Bill Maher reminds him of a single guy who has no responsibility, who could get a show and just say basically and do whatever he wants, because there's no ramifications, or he's just single. He's not, he doesn't have to worry about being linked to Spotify to keep money or whatever. He's like independent and can do things and say things whatever he wants, because he has a show called Club Random. It's just damn good. Club Random is just like basically maybe 10 years ago something I was, hoping would happen. And I guess I wouldn't be able to do it. I mean, I could do it, but it wouldn't be the same with me doing it. It would have to happen in the mainstream. The point was to have a show like that in the mainstream where, he's sitting around spoken, there's sure there's guidelines, and I'm sure there's regulations, but it's more, just him, a camera, and a person talking, and just doesn't have the formality of his regular show or a regular TV news program or talk show. And I always thought that was, years ago, I always thought, yeah, that's what we need. That's what we want, where people just sit back, kick, and talk regular. Now with podcasting and social media, everybody has their own show. Everybody can put that out there. And, to see it on TV, I don't expect to see it on ABC or NBC. Maybe some HBOs. HBO's probably has a little bit of regulation there too. But the uncensorship and the free distribution of information, and more so the distribution, the people being able to express how they feel regardless of what it is. If it, goes against what's socially accepted now, whatever that means, just the ability just to say it, the ability to talk and be wrong, to be incorrect. Now, I'm not an advocate of lying. I'm not the person who's going to ever, I'm not going to say ever, but I do not say anything that I do not believe is true in seriousness. I will not relay in seriousness something that I know is not true. I'll joke, and hopefully, people understand it's satire, but even in my satire, there's truth. So lying, see, and then if you get to the world I want, even lying has to be not allowed, but there'll be misconceptions and misinformation, and there'll be outright lies. And the regulation of that, I understand at a news media global thing. I understand it, but it still comes back, I think, to parents raising their children from an early age to grow up to understand how to navigate information, what is real, what is not real, where they get their integrity from, where they pull their quote unquote morals from, their ideas, their philosophies. They need to be taught where to get that, what's real, what's not, what's conjecture, what's false, what's play, what's entertainment, what's threatening, what's, pseudo or fake or facade. They need to be taught that at the human level and not policed at the a higher level of. Not policed to it should be regulated to a degree. It has to be should be regulated to a degree, and I get regulations, but policing and censorship, and people thinking they have an idea of what's right or wrong. People say, "Oh, that's wrong," or "That's right." No, I don't. That's what you think, and that's what you think everybody thinks. But that's not the case. Even if what you're saying is true, that I do know what's wrong, and I do know what you mean, and I agree with you, you still can't say it. So, well, you can say anything you want, but you know what I mean. Anyhow, I'm just rambling. I just wanted to get that out there, and then it's really basically me defending a person's right to say anything. Because look at me, that's all I do. I was like, oh, no wonder I'm, kind of my take on the whole Kanye thing. Because that's what I'm doing. I just want to talk crazy too. I don't want to talk crazy, but see, I talk crazy, y'all don't care. Oh, he ain't nobody. But Kanye talk crazy, it was a big deal because he's famous. And that is another thing that could probably be addressed. Oh, because he is this, he has a different responsibility, or he has different regulations, or he has different guidelines of what he can do and say, as opposed to somebody who doesn't have a platform that big. Does the size of your platform determine how much regulation you get on your speech? No, it doesn't. From a legal standpoint, like I said before, from a legal standpoint, legislation and all that, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's the social justice. The social justice. Now, I heard the word social justice warrior, but it's just hitting me now, because social justice warrior was more like a quote unquote put down of somebody you think is overly woke. At least I used it that way. And so to actually see the term social justice and understand it as it being something, that social justice is a thing now. It's almost like a tangible weapon, or it's like a tangible committee who just sits around and determines what is and what ain't appropriate. Anyway, my name is Jeffery Mitchell, swinging on y'all 2 times. For me, for the funk, and for every elementary particle that has ever existed in any atom in this or in any universe that ever was, is, or will be. It's about the totality of it all, y'all. A theory of universe, a hypothesis of all as one. Always on the one, and the one is within us all. Yeah. Oh, yeah.